Well, good evening, good evening to all of our Jubi Rev, Jubi Max teammates. Give me just a moment. So what I'm going to start off with, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be some parts of what I covered on last night on the corporate update and training webinar. So for some of you, this is going to be a review, but I still believe that for many of you, the review is going to be good for you, okay? Because there was a lot of information we covered, and actually we got the training started a little bit later last night, as the update part took a little bit longer than what we thought was going to happen. So we're going to start there, and then we're going to move into some team strategies. I'm going to basically share with you how I plan to do my placements, what I'm looking at, what my criteria happens to be in terms of you know, who I'm placing, not necessarily the names, and why I'm placing the way I'll be placing. All right, so that should give you some ideas, some strategies. Not that you have to do things exactly like I'm doing them, but at least give you some ideas and some strategies. Okay, so let's go to work here. All right, so now the first thing we need to understand is that the JubiSuite, there are 3 parts of our compensation that are impacted excuse me, by the JubiSuite, okay? Now, 2 of these are very similar, similar, all right? And that's going to be the JubiRev. I'll tell you what, I've just shortened your back office. Let's go to our training. Give me a moment. Let me log into our training site. The JubiSuite, ladies and gentlemen, the company could have built its entire model. No, obviously, if the company had done this, we wouldn't have the revenue sharing model that we have, all right? But the company could have built its entire model just around the JubiSuite, just around the JubiSuite. We have seen a company, ViSalus, which is in the weight loss nutritional space, that has done phenomenally well. They're just about $1 billion company, and a lot of that has to do, it's not the only reason, but a lot of that has to do with, I forget what they call it, a holding room or meeting room, I forget what they call it. It's essentially what we call the JubiSuite, okay? And they were the inspiration of that. And by the way, there's nothing new under the sun. Oh, another thing, whenever you see marketing companies talk about they have a patent pending pay plan queen, that's typically just marketing, because there's really nothing new under the sun. I saw a company that they said they had a patent pending compensation plan, and they ran with that marketing story for about 3 or 4 years, and I don't know if it was ever patent pending.
Okay.
Sometimes even marketing companies don't tell the truth.
Right.
Okay, so but when we're talking about the so ViSalus was really the inspiration behind what we call the JubiSuite. Now, when I first looked at ViSalus's compensation plan, excuse me, Queen. Sorry, shouldn't be yawning in your ear. I thought it was boring. I thought it was very boring. It was an 8-level unilevel. They paid like commission-wise, like 5% commission, you know, through 8 levels, and you know, you'd have to do ABC to be qualified for the 2nd level, and maybe to get to the 4th level, you had to do so much more production, so on and so forth. And I thought, well, how is this company growing, you know, at this frenetic pace? Because Queen, this company was growing at a frenetic pace at the time that the leading company in the revenue sharing space was at its heyday, okay? And so you had this company in the revenue sharing space that was at its heyday, and then you had this company over here that was a lot more traditional. Well, no, not a lot more, traditional. They didn't have a revenue sharing model the way that many of us have fallen in love with.
Right.
You know, it's product-based. You know, they were doing, a lot of the people were doing meetings offline and home parties and one-on-ones and what have you, more of the traditional MLM space. And yet here was this company that was growing like weeds. And a lot of the people that were coming into that company were not necessarily folks that were just the big network marketers. I mean, they had a lot of regular folks that weren't big business builders that were coming aboard with that particular company. Now, it's not all due to, obviously they had a nice product promotion with like a 90-day weight loss plan, and they got some great testimonies out of that and so on and so forth. But they did master what we would call in our system the JubiSuite. They are the masters of it, okay? And we'll have a way to go before we become masters of it, but we at least want to start along that path. Okay, so now, as we go into the here's our training site here. So we go into the back office. I'm going to go under Jubi Team and then JubiSuite, and there are 3 parts of the compensation plan that are governed by the JubiSuite, or that the JubiSuite has some connection to. I'm going to start off with the Jubi 8 level team bonus overrides. Now, in your back office, under when you go into your home page, under corporate overview, feel a cough, excuse me. Okay. Under corporate overview, you're going to see the compensation PDF. All right, so I'm going to be toggling back and forth from that compensation PDF. So now, right now, let's go back to the Jubi Team and then JubiSuite. Okay. All right. So now, what is the power? What is the JubiRev 8 level team bonus overrides? What is that? All right. Well, this is where, when the daily leadership bonus is paid on a daily basis, we are rewarded in additional Jubi bucks. Now, of course, in your back office, you can determine how you want your Jubi buck, or how you want your reward divided. Do you want it all going to Jubi bucks? All right, let's make sure you understand this. Do you want it all going to Jubi bucks? If you go under your eCash, go under your eCash. And of course, this is a training position, so we're not placing the ads and what have you, so it doesn't show it's getting a daily leadership bonus. But if you go under eCash and then under commissions, eCash and commissions, you've got your daily leadership bonus. And then you've got this setting here. Each of the ways that the company pays, you have a unique setting where you can say, I want 0% of my reward to be paid to eCash. What that simply means is, if you earned 100 Jubi bucks that night as your reward, then 100 Jubi bucks goes into your Jubi bucks column. 0% of that goes into eCash. If you decided that you wanted to change this, and you wanted to say, hey, I want 10% of my Jubi buck award. In my example, my Jubi buck reward, let's say, was 100 Jubi bucks, but I want 10% to go to eCash, then 10 would go to eCash, 90 would go to Jubi bucks. Okay, now, this JubiRev 8 that you see, all right, that we had at the previous page, and we'll go back to it, is essentially the commission on the amount of Jubi bucks that went into one's inventory from the daily reward that night. So in my example, we have 100 Jubi bucks paid out, 100 Jubi bucks paid out as our daily reward. But we've set our system maybe to where we want 10% to go to eCash. So what that means is that 90 would then go to our Jubi buck column. The other 10, Queen, would go to our eCash. This 90 in Jubi bucks in this example is another transaction, because you actually were rewarded and you decided to take your reward as Jubi bucks. Of course, the max that we can transfer to eCash on a daily basis, or tell the system to convert to eCash, would be 60%. But you allotted in this example, you decided in this example that you wanted 90 Jubi bucks to go, or you wanted 90% to go to your Jubi buck column. All right, so now the commissions that would be generated from the JubiRev 8 level is going to be based on this 90 bucks Jubi bucks here. If you had said, let's keep it at 0, where none of my reward goes to eCash, it all goes to JubiBucks, you earned 100 JubiBucks, and as a result, the transaction would be based on 100 JubiBucks. Okay, that's the commission. Now, you are commissioned. If you're building a team, or if you have people in your 8-level unit level, all right, you're earning, let's say 0.5%. You can earn 0.5% through 8 levels. And we have to qualify for all 8 levels. Those 8 levels aren't just given. We've got to qualify for all 8 levels. So in this example, Queen, if you had someone in your 8-level unit level and you were qualified and they got 100 JubiBucks that was paid out to them in their daily reward, and it all went to the JubiBucks there, 100 JubiBucks went to the JubiBuck column, you would get 0.5% or 0.50, okay? Now, your reward would also be paid in JubiBucks, or your override would also be paid in JubiBucks. Now, why? Because what the company wants to do is to make sure that people can build up their JubiBuck inventory, because you heard our president and owner talk last night about the pro marketing system. Now, there's going to be, I don't know what the pricing is going to be on that, but there's going to be some parts of the pro marketing system that everybody's going to have access to, and there's going to be some more bells and whistles for those of you that may want to opt for the bells and whistles. But when the pro marketing system comes out, what we don't have in place right now is we don't have the product giveaway pages. Right now, Queen, what we have is the ability to give away a JubiBuck certificate.
Okay.
But what we want to have, and what we should have when the pro marketing system launches, is where your customer, when they register, they're not just getting a certificate or getting JubiBucks, but they're actually whipping out their credit card to get the physical sample of weight loss, if that's what you wanted to promote, or if you wanted to promote energy, or you wanted to promote so on and so forth. Okay. So now, this is going to be very important, because obviously we want to be building JubiBucks are like our virtual inventory, virtual sampling, and this is how we are rewarded in our daily leadership bonus, as well as override commissioning in JubiBucks. And of course, you can also set this particular JubiRev 8-level team bonus override. You can also set that to where whatever your reward would be, it can all go to JubiBucks, or you can make some modifications there and have it going to eCash. Excuse me, a portion of eCash. Okay, so that's one of the ways to do it. Now, real quickly, why is this so big? You know, someone just said that they have 111,000 Jubi points already. 111,000 Jubi points already. Now, let's just say, and I know they probably did more than this, but let's just say that they earned through that daily leadership bonus 1,000 JubiBucks last evening, and it was probably more than that, and they probably also get some other commissions and so on and so forth. Well, Queen, that right there, you know, times 0.5% there.
Yeah.
What is that? Is that $5?
It is.
Yeah. Okay. So now I want you to understand the power of this. There could be as many as 8 different people, because of just this one person's point total and their daily leadership bonus and so on and so forth. There could be as many as 8 people earning, you know, what would be a $5 override, you know, last night, maybe tonight, and so on and so forth. Well, Queen, if you could, and we can't protract that out necessarily, because we don't know what it's going to be tomorrow night and the next night and so on and so forth. But Queen, you can already see that if you looked at that on a monthly scale, that's a pretty good additional override. Yeah. And the JubiSuite allows us to be able to place folks in the unilevel to impact other people's businesses, not just your own. The more you give, the more you get. The more you give, the more you get. The more you give, the more you get. Okay? Excuse me. Okay. So that's one area. Now the second area that's governed, and this is right over here under commissions, all right, eCash commissions. Right up here it says level override sales bonuses. That's virtually the same thing, The only difference between these two, the level override sales bonuses, all right, paid on the JubiSuite, and the JubiRev 8 level team bonuses, the only difference is this JubiRev 8 level team bonus is coming as a result of that day's daily leadership bonus and the fact that every single person in your unilevel has a certain amount of their daily leadership bonus that is going to JubiBucks. Queen, we can't help it, because even if everybody was set to 60% eCash, I want all of my daily leadership bonus as much as I can to go to eCash, which most people don't do, but if everybody did that, okay, there is a forced mechanism that says 40% at least has to go to more JubiBuck inventory. So this creates a daily forced residual. Let me say that again. This creates a daily forced residual. Now, the only difference between the two, the Jubi 8 level team bonuses is based on the daily leadership bonus. The level override, Queen, is based on when someone has eCash in your 8-level organization, and whatever you're qualified for, whether you qualify for all 8 levels or 2 levels or what have you, when someone has the eCash and they use eCash to make a purchase. So it could be that Joe or Susie Average just joined your organization, they loaded eCash, from their eCash they made a purchase of JubiBucks for the first time, as an example, that would pay out over here.
Yes.
Or it could be that you've got an existing person in your organization that had money going to eCash because they set one of their payment systems so that money went to eCash. So they've got some money in eCash, but then they thought, well, you know what, I've got this eCash, and you know, maybe I want to commission out a certain amount for the week. Excuse me. Or maybe I want to pay my monthly subscription. In any event, they've got more eCash there than what they intend to extract as commissions, or more than what they intend to pay for the monthly subscription, and then they decided with the eCash to make another purchase. So they didn't necessarily load up any additional money, but they have eCash there. So right here in this back office, you see what? You see $415 in eCash. So if this were my actual position, this is the training position, and I clicked on eCash and I decided to purchase some JubiBucks. Let's say I purchased 100 JubiBucks, Queen. Well, that commission would show up right here. That's where that commission would show up, okay? Because the JubiBucks were purchased with eCash, all right? And then the third area that is governed by the JubiSuite is the Power Unilevel commissions. The Power Unilevel commissions. When someone joins and they are on auto ship, or when we have customers that, obviously right now most of our customers are in the sampling phase, but ultimately we'll have it where customers can also be on auto ship, all right? And then of course customers that may not be on auto ship but simply want to come and purchase products. By the way, late last night I'm talking to the president. Was it late last night or early? No, yeah, late last night. Late last night I'm talking to the president, and he was talking to me about other products that the field hasn't even been made aware of. As a matter of fact, there's one product that's kind of in a test market right now, and it is getting absolutely rave reviews. And some folks may be saying, but wait a minute, you know, we got all these products. Well, remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is not a high-yield investment program, despite what some of the bloggers might be saying out there. And hey, blogger, I know you're probably on the webinar. Hey, buddy, how you doing? All right. This.
Okay.
You like that? That was nice. You like that?
I like that. Yeah, that was good.
All right.
That was good.
Okay. All right. Okay. We are a marketing company moving products and services, leveraging a couple of dynamic compensation models to attract more promoters, so that in attracting these promoters, ultimately we get more and more product and services out to the consuming public. That's the bottom line, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. All right, so now, on the power unit level commissions, when someone joins, as an example, and let's say they choose a monthly subscription. Remember, we've got 15, 50, 100, and 200, okay? And then, of course, when customers make purchases, and that's business volume, that will also go in the unit level. But when a person joins, let's say John joins and he makes a $200 monthly subscription, that first month is paid in a CAB bonus, a customer acquisition bonus, okay? I don't have time to cover all of that, but if you go to your compensation PDF, you'll see how that's paid out there. Okay, it's basically paid through 3 generations. Now, the unilevel then kicks in with the second month. Unilevel kicks in with the second month. Okay, and what happens with the unilevel, give me a moment, let's get down to the unilevel here. Whoops. Uh-oh, what just happened? I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, bear with me. The unilevel kicks in with the second month subscription. The unilevel kicks in with the second month subscription. That is the wrong thing. All right, so here's the unilevel kicking in, all right? It's going to pay, excuse me, please, 8 levels, 5%, okay? Now, we do need to be mindful that the way the JubiRev 8 pays as it relates to that daily leadership bonus, the 0.5%, the way that the sales override pays, again, that's also a 0.5%. So both the level sales override bonuses pay a 0.5% through as many as 8 levels, and the JubiRev 8 level team bonuses pay a 0.5% through as many as 8 levels. Okay, so both of those are the same. And then the power unilevel commissions pay 5% through as many as 8 levels. Okay. Now there is a difference, however, in how you qualify for the levels. So, for instance, with a 0.5%, you only start picking those up if you are an Emerald Director or above. That doesn't mean you had to be on a $100 a month subscription, because from a U.S. standpoint, you can't be made to purchase a monthly subscription or made to be on auto ship. A company can incentivize its folks to be on auto ship. You can sell $100 worth of business volume and get that designation. The path of least resistance is for you to have a monthly subscription, because that way at least you know you've got that volume requirement met. All right, so you have to be Emerald in order to get the 0.5%, and if you're Emerald, you pick up 2 levels of pay. If you're Diamond, you pick up 3 levels of pay. And we will, I won't go through 2-star and Presidential so much as I will cover a little bit about 1-star, because then you can read the rest of 2-star and Presidential on your own there. Okay. Now, however, with the unilevel on the monthly subscriptions and any product movement, that's a little different, because everyone that's in our system can qualify. Even a freebie can qualify for 1 level of unilevel commissions. Okay. Even a freebie, even an associate, someone who does not have a monthly subscription. Jade picks up 2 levels. Ruby, $50 a month would get you there, picks up 3 levels. Emerald picks up 4. Excuse me. Diamond picks up 5. 1-star 6. 2-star 7. Presidential 8. Okay, now we're going to go into the suite in just a moment, but it's important to understand the commissioning aspect of this, so that you, as you are doing your placements, you are aware of how this impacts not only your bottom line, but how it impacts the bottom line, or bottom lines, I don't know if I should say it like that, but the bottom line of your teammates. Okay, now, give me a moment. Okay, let me show you one of the things as I'm looking to start with my placements and my strategy, so on and so forth, okay? Oh, you know what, before I do that, let me hit this part so this will make more sense. Let's go down real quickly to 1 star. Give me a moment. So getting to diamond is fairly simple, all right? Particularly if you're being a product of the product. If I've got a $15 a month subscription, then I'm Jade. If I've got a $50 a month subscription, then I'm Ruby. If I have a $100 a month subscription, then I'm Emerald. If I have a $200 a month subscription, then I am Diamond. Now, even if you don't have the resources right now to be Diamond, everyone should have it in their fairly short-term goals. When I say short-term, next 30, 60, 90 days to be Diamond. And that Diamond's not hurting your family. You can cover your monthly subscription and you're Diamond, okay? That should be everybody's goal. That should be everybody's goal. Now, then your goal from Diamond is to get to 1 star. And the way we do that is you need to be an active qualified promoter. You need to have a minimum of $200 in personal qualifying volume. That $200 could be your $200 a month subscription. That $200 could be product sales to consumers that have nothing to do with the income opportunity that equal $200 a month. Obviously, if you have the $200 a month subscription, that's something that is more in your control, okay? You need to have 3 personally active qualified Diamond Director promoters that you have personally enrolled, okay? And then you need to have a total unit level of 10,000 GQV, group qualifying volume. All right, so here's what we know. In order to get to 1 star, we need 3 that we personally enroll. Now remember, this has got nothing to do with the DOB, okay? This is for those of us that say, no, I love the DOB. I'm excited about the DOB, but I want to go beyond the DOB, okay? Daily Leadership Bonus. 3 is what we want to have, 3 legs that you've personally enrolled to get to 1 star, okay? You've got your 200, let's say, 10,000 in group qualifying volume. Now remember, when we talk group qualifying volume, we are not talking about Jubi Buck purchases in your organization. Jubi Buck purchases have nothing to do with group qualifying volume. Group qualifying volume is the net effect of the monthly subscriptions / auto ships that obviously many of we promoters have, the net effect of business volume from products and services being moved through your unit level to outside customers, folks that have nothing to do with the income opportunity. Additionally, there is a 60% rank criteria that applies. What does that mean? It means that you can count only 60% of your 10,000 in volume can be counted from any one leg. So if I want to get to 1 star, 60% of that means I can count 1 leg for 6,000. The other 4,000 need to come from a combination of the other 2 or more legs that you might have. The reason this is important is so you don't just have a situation where you enroll 1 person and you sit back on your laurels. That 1 person goes to town, all right? And yes, you get volume, and you may get more than 10,000 in volume, but what this requires, and again, maybe my blogger friends who may be on this webinar will pick this one up and blog about this one. What this requires, ladies and gentlemen, is you've got to go to work. This is not a passive anything. It's not a passive income opportunity. Can you earn from the daily leadership bonus if you're not good at recruiting and sponsoring and sales? Sure you can. Sure you can. But if you want to make the really big money, you don't have to be a great recruiter or a great sponsorer, but do a little. That's what this network marketing industry is all about. A lot of people doing a little bit. Now, we've got a better chance of it because, yes, we've got the DOB, but then we also have these great products that are coming online that we're going to be able to virtual sample. And some of the companies that are more traditional in nature, let's say like a Visalis as an example, a lot of the people that join that company don't join that company initially because of the income opportunity. A lot of times they join the company because they got product satisfaction. When I joined, a lot of the companies that are the bigger companies, the product-centric companies, or maybe even some of them that have great services, a lot of them don't even lead necessarily with the income opportunity. They lead with the products and services. They get a good product testimony from a customer or what have you. That customer likes the product, likes the service, and then they inquire about the income opportunity, okay? All right, so we've got a better shot because we can virtual sample, because we can get the products into the hands of folks. They like the product. Well, wow, now they want to order again. Fantastic. Well, hey, you know what? You can make some money by doing what I did, by giving away some samples. So I want you to understand that we got an opportunity to build something huge, huge, huge here, ladies and gentlemen, even if you don't consider yourself great at recruiting, sponsoring, or selling. Okay, so now we now know how to get to 1 star. We now know how to get to 1 star. So now with that, let's go into the JubiSuite. So we need to understand some of those things, because what we showed last night and what I'm going to show today is where someone did not understand that, started placing folks, and they really hurt themselves, and unfortunately what they did cannot be undone. All right, so now let's go to the JubiSuite. Let's go to the JubiSuite, okay? All right, so when you go in your My Jubi team, you click on JubiSuite, what you're going to see are all of the people that you have personally enrolled. Now, obviously, there's some of you that have enrolled a ton. There's some of you that maybe haven't enrolled any just yet, and that's okay. And so even if you haven't enrolled anyone, this is very valuable training, because hopefully you're not here for a passive opportunity. If you are, you won't be here long. This is not a passive opportunity, passive income. No, we're here to build a business. We just want to give Joe and Susie Average a leg up while they're learning how to build a business. Give me just a moment, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, here we go. Okay, so now, there's a few things I want you to pay attention to when you're back here, okay? And this is still a little pain here, and programming knows about it. Sometimes that little bubble kind of follows you, and it becomes a little pain. You are defaulted to where it only shows promoters. You can show customers. I don't know that customers can be placed, so I'm leaving that alone right now. That might come up down the road in terms of being able to place a customer in the organization. I don't know. So right now, this is defaulted to promoter. I would keep that just as promoters. Group qualifying volume. You click on this down arrow, and what this is going to show you is going to allow you to filter. So if you're someone like Tom Ron that's got hundreds of personal enrollees, you know, for him trying to go through each one of those would be tough. So what he can do is he can filter and say, I want to look at all of my personal enrollees that have 10,000 or more in group qualifying volume. He clicks there, and then what is maybe a huge, huge list now narrows. So he can see, you know, where is you know, who's building the strongest team so far. Then you can do 4,000 to 9,999, 100 to 999, 1 to 99, so on and so forth. Group qualifying volume. What's the monthly subscription activity? What's the product movement activity with this personal enrollee? What's the product movement activity with Larry Average here, as an example, all right? And then the other thing you can look at is going to be what we call holding volume. Now, the JubiSuite is just launching in its fullness, and we've got some training, obviously, that we're starting to do on it. However, I will tell you, from day one, the very first day that people started loading money and they started purchasing Jubi Bucks, the very first day people purchased monthly subscriptions, obviously now customers are starting to make purchases, all right? The system was calculating those commissions, though they were not visible to us, and putting those commissions in a holding tank, okay? And so what we call holding volume, So you can also, as you're looking at your GQV, you can also look at the holding volume of the power unit level commissions. Let's give you an example. Now, this is the training, so you won't see. Hey, someone do me a favor. Someone who has, you got some people that you personally enrolled and they're in your JubiSuite. If you'd log into your back office real quickly and look at your JubiSuite, and you don't give me the username, but just go in your JubiSuite and give me an idea of someone in your JubiSuite that has some holding volume under the power unit level commissions. They've got some holding volume, because while this is a test position, it doesn't have any holding volume here. And just tell me what that holding volume amount is. Okay, all right. Louise, is that under power unit level commissions, or is that under one of the other commissions? I'm going to take a smaller number, Louise. That's a really great number. That's a big number, though. All right, so somebody has they see that someone in their back office, all right, has holding volume of 500. What does that mean? If it's under power unit level commissions, what that means is there's $500 worth of commissions that are due to be paid up, all right? Oh, I'm sorry, not $500, $500 in volume. So on the power unit level commissions, that's 5%. So if you took $500 times 5% per level, as many as 8 levels above, then that's what commission has been held. So there was $500 in volume, okay? The 8 levels above, assuming that everyone's qualified above them, would get 5%. So the moment that if Michael places that person in someone else's organization, the moment he does that, that's going to release that $500 in holding volume. That doesn't mean people get a $500 check. They're going to get their 5% of that $500 in holding volume.
Are we talking about the 0.5% too much?
No. I'm assuming that that Michael's numbers that he just gave me was based on power unit level commissions.
Okay, that's like you're saying 8 levels up. So I'm just trying to.
Well, it's still 8 levels, but it pays as high as 8 levels, depending on whether or not people are qualified. So you know, it could be that the person that's 4 levels up is not qualified to get 4 levels of pay. Okay. But the whole part there is when you're looking at this holding volume, when you go over anybody in your JubiSuite, all right?
Right.
So let's just start from the front. I'm sorry, I probably.
Oh, never mind. I know. Yeah.
Okay, let's start from the front. Let's look at Jane Average here. All right, let's make sure we understand what this box is telling us. Okay. Username Jane Average. Got it. Jane Ave. What's her name? Because obviously, if you're just looking in your back office, you may not know a person's username. So now you get to see their name. Oh, okay. All right, that's Tyron. Got it. All right, fantastic. All right. How many people are on Jane's first level? She's got no one on her first level. Okay. All right, got it. What's her rank? If she's an associate, that tells me that she is has either not upgraded, or she upgraded maybe that first month, but she did not pay her monthly subscription the second month around. Okay. PQV, personal qualifying volume. This is going to let us know what their personal qualifying volume is, and that's the net effect of Jane's monthly subscription if she has one, and any business volume that she's responsible for with consumer activity, people that have nothing to do with income opportunity. They are just customers. Okay. Group qualifying volume. That's going to be the net effect of all of the monthly subscriptions, all of the business volume from consumer activity in her entire organization. She may not be qualified to be commissioned on all of it, but it's still in her organization, and whatever that amount is in group qualifying volume not only impacts her for promotion standpoint, but it impacts the people above her. So if you are her personal enroller, she's on your first level. If she had some group qualifying volume, that would go for her getting promoted. That would also go for you getting promoted. Okay? And then holding volume. Holding volume. When Jane is placed, is there already volume that the system has stored that commissions are going to be paid out on once she is placed? Okay? Now, on this holding volume, all right, please be aware that you can filter for not only power unit level commissions. Right now, as we see this would show holding volume based on power unit level commissions. Monthly subscriptions, how much a monthly subscriptions is going to be paid out at that 5% level, 5% up to as many as 8 levels. If you were to come over here and you were to filter by level override sales bonuses, and then you click back on Jane, then what you would see, you might you probably need to click where it says filter here just to make sure that it resets. Okay? And then you click back on Jane. Of course, Jane has no volume there. But then that would show, now this is huge. This is huge. Especially if you've been building a team. All of the JubiBuck purchases that have come from eCash, so that means, Tyron, when you enrolled someone during the pre-registration stage, and then when we went to pre-launch, they loaded up eCash, and then from eCash, they made a purchase of JubiBucks. Well before the daily leadership bonus started, the system put that in the holding tank. So if someone made a $1,000 JubiBuck purchase, the system noted that $1,000 worth of volume. If someone made a $2,500 purchase, the system noted that $2,500 worth of volume. If someone made a $10 purchase, the system noted that. Okay? So now, at leaders, as you are looking at this placement, one of the things I'm looking at is yes, I'm going to be looking at group qualifying volume, but I'm also going to be looking at this holding volume, because I know that if Jane had $1,000 in holding volume from level override sales bonuses, I know that either when I lock her in on my first level, if I choose to do that, or I place her in my unilevel, that is going to immediately produce commissions for a good number of people. 0.5% on the level sales override bonuses, as well as the JubiRev 8 level team bonus overrides. So this is what I want us to do right now. For those of you, particularly for those of you that have been very active in enrolling, I want you to go to your back office right now. I want you to go into your Jubi team and then JubiSuite. Then what I want you to do is I want you to, under GQV, I'll tell you what, under GQV, how about you click 1,000 to 999? Now, some of you will have people that show up there, some of you won't. Maybe you've enrolled some folks, but they don't have that much volume. If you don't have anybody there from 1,000 to 999, then step back 100 to 999, so on and so forth. What I want you to be able to do is to see who has volume, and then when you see who has volume, I want you to then start to go through these other holding volumes here. How much holding volume is in power unit level commissions? How much holding volume is in levels override sales bonuses? How much holding volume is JubiRev 8 level team bonuses? Because Queen, as I went through some of the folks that I personally enrolled, and first, I looked at the GQV. Okay, good. I looked at the power unit level commission. Okay, good. And then I looked at the level override sales bonuses and these JubiRev 8 level bonuses, and I was blown away. I was absolutely blown away that when we start placing when we start locking and placing what that's going to mean for some folks. That's going to be huge for some folks. Okay. Okay. All right. So some of you are kind of working while you're listening to me now. All right. You want to be able to see that holding volume. Now this for me, this is going into my strategy for using the JubiSuite. Now let me tell you my strategy first and foremost with the JubiSuite. Okay. Let me tell you what I'm after with the JubiSuite. I'm after building a huge monthly residual income because of the monthly subscriptions. I'm after building a huge monthly residual income because of the monthly subscriptions. Leaders, listen to me, okay? We love the revenue sharing compensation model. We love it. But those of us that have been a part of the revenue sharing compensation model know that this model has still has some regulatory things that we've got to work through. We've got to pass that regulatory test, so on and so forth, okay? It is a newer compensation model. The binary compensation model went through an evolutionary process. It took some time before they got all the tweaks and the quirks and what have you before it was an accepted model industry-wide. Now we know many companies come out with binaries, okay? It underwent some scrutiny early on as well. What has already passed the scrutiny test is what? A unilevel. The unilevel has already passed the scrutiny test. So while I am madly in love, did I say madly in love? I mean madly, madly, madly in love. If she was a woman, I'd be in trouble. Folks would be saying, you're not doing right by your wife. I'm madly in love with the revenue sharing daily leadership bonus part of our compensation system. At the same time, I know that a unilevel is has already passed that scrutiny test. Okay, if Mr. Regulator ever came or the attorneys ever said, hey, you got to make a slight modification here, you got to add a requirement there, for the DLB, and that could happen because we're still in the evolutionary process. It's doubtful, other than maybe some requirements, that any such modification would have to be made to a unilevel because unilevel is already proven. Okay, what I'm after is I'm building 3 legs. I personally enrolled over 100 folks. I'm not the big personal recruiter like a Tyron that's personally enrolled, 5 billion, whatever he's done. Okay, I personally enrolled over 100 folks, but I'm going to build through 3 legs. Now, it doesn't mean I'll only do that forever and ever, amen, but I'm going to do that until we get enough people promoted to 1-star and then 2-star and then ultimately to presidential, okay? So my focus is on 3 legs. Well, I can already tell you that my top 3 legs will be folks that have already been performing. I want to reward that performance, and they're going to be people that have $200 a month in personal qualifying volume. Why? Because, get this, ladies and gentlemen, for every $200 a month subscription in your 8-level unilevel that you're being paid on, that's $10 a month in residual income. And so with those three, in many cases I've already talked to them, or we'll be talking with those 3 and saying, hey, what I want you to do is, if you choose to build through 3 legs, make sure that your top 3 legs are going to be people that are committed to this long term, and part of that commitment is 200 qualifying volume, personal qualifying volume. Now, I know not everybody's got $200 a month that they can, because you're in maybe different countries where $200 a month in your currency is a whole lot of money compared to maybe here with U.S. dollars, or that maybe financially things are just really tough right now. But I at least want that person to be committed to, as soon as I can get to 200, I'm getting to 200. It may take me a month, it may take me 3 months. I'm committed. I'm committed. I'm committed. Because look at what could happen if 3 begat 3 begat 3 begat 3 begat 3, then eventually all got to 200. Ladies and gentlemen, you could be making, comes up to over $98,000 a month. You know what? in that company that had a revenue sharing compensation model that many of us are aware of that ran into some regulatory headwinds. I never even talked about the monthly subscription income, or the income we were deriving from the monthly subscriptions. And sure, we made a lot of money through their daily rewards, you know, what we would now call our daily leadership bonus. But ladies and gentlemen, you know, we were over, we were probably just under $20,000 a month from those monthly subscriptions. So this monthly subscription and then the product movement, that could be huge. All right, so, all right, what I'm doing, my strategy, one, right now I am building through 3 legs. Right now I'm building through 3 legs. Now, how am I determining those top 3 legs? I'm determining those top 3 legs a number of factors, but one of the things I'm definitely looking at is group qualifying volume. Group qualifying volume. So if I've got someone who's got, I've got somebody who's got 48,000 in group qualifying volume, that tells me that person's been working. And I want to use the JubiSuite to reward performance. Got somebody else with like 60 or 70,000 in group qualifying volume. I want to reward that performance. Now, does it mean that I value them any more than someone that has 0 group qualifying volume? No, it doesn't mean I value them any more. It doesn't mean that at all. But it does mean that I'm making a strategic business decision. Why? Because I want to make sure that those folks that are actively engaged, that we help get them promoted. We help get them promoted. Understand that when you help your folks get promoted, okay? Let's go back to the, let's go first look at the unit level commissions. Give me a moment. Is that it? Okay. So if I have someone who's now diamond, they're qualified for 5 levels in the unilevel commission structure. The 5% of a $15 subscription, 5% of a $50 month subscription, 5% of $100 or a $200 month subscription. Okay. Well, if I can get them promoted to 1 star, they pick up another level. That other level, that might be another $1,000 a month, $10,000 a month in additional subscription volume that they're getting 5% on. If it's an extra $10,000 a month on that 6th level that they weren't getting already, that gives them an extra $500 a month in monthly residual income. Now, what are the chances that if they're making that extra money, they may commit more to purchasing more inventory, which then also shows up in the overrides I would normally be getting in, you know, with JubiBucks and so on and so forth. What's the chances of this person ever quitting? What's the chances of this person when the next new deal pops up tomorrow, and it'll be several tomorrow, that all of a sudden they're going to throw their hands up and say, I'll just place my ad and just do my minimum and let me go over here. So the more we get them, the more money we get them making, the more we start locking them in to be here for the long haul. Okay. On the 0.5%, I get this person from diamond to 1 star. They pick up another level of 0.5%. Well, what if that other level of 0.5% on a daily basis, if that means that they're now overriding another $10,000 in JubiBuck movement, all right? And they get 0.5%. I don't know exactly what 0.5% of that happens to be. And they're picking up an extra $50 a day as an example. How does that impact them? And how does that also impact, if I'm the enroller or what have you, how does that also impact me ultimately? That means we all make more money. So I want us to understand that we're going to use this JubiSuite. We're going to use this as a leverage tool. We're going to use it as a way to reward performance. Now, performance doesn't just have to be, because some of you obviously don't have folks in your structure right now that have $40,000, $50,000 of group qualifying volume. Some of these rewards that you can be giving is based on loyalty, based on commitment. I've got folks that I know I will be placing legs with that aren't huge business builders, but I can count on them. They're going to be on a webinar. If a blogger says something about me, they're ready to go and find that blogger. No, leave that blogger alone. You know, he's hiding anyway. We don't even know where the heck that guy is. All right. So we want to use the JubiSuite as a reward tool. Okay. So now I'm building through 3 legs, even though I have personally enrolled over 100 folks. Now, here's one thing we need to make sure, particularly those of you who've been with us since early on, maybe since before there was even a name JubiMax or JubiRev or even a website. Some of you did a lot of enrolling, and you had a percentage of your folks that eventually upgraded, but then you've got a lot of folks that haven't quite upgraded yet. Right now, I'm not placing anybody that is not upgraded. What I will be doing is I'm going to be going through my JubiSuite. The first thing I'm going to do is focus on my active folks and starting to place them based on my strategy. That's the first thing I'm going to do. Once I've got those folks placed, then I'm going to go through my non-active folks that at one point in time there was enough information for them to say, hey, I want to register with JubiRev, JubiMax, and I'm going to come back here under my Jubi team where all of my personally enrolled, I have their contact information, email address, or phone number. And then I'm going to use the JubiSuite and say, hey, I'm doing a contest. If you upgrade and you purchase some Jubi bucks, all right, then the next person that I get to upgrade and purchase some Jubi bucks, I'm going to place in your organization. Now, I may have a person that upgrades right away, and then another person right away, and I place them in the organization, and I'm going to use the JubiSuite to engage some folks that aren't currently engaged. So hear me, leaders, that's how I plan to do that. That's how I plan to do that. But I'm going to start with placing my my folks first. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm building 3 legs. 1, okay? I can tell you my top 3 legs are going to be my top producers, right? A mistake that one person made, and we covered this on last night, mistake that one person made. I'm sorry, you know what? I need to stay on task here. Let's go back here. All right? I'm going to be looking at my top producers. Now, how am I going to be able to determine my top producers? One way is going to be through GQV, the group qualifying volume. So I can tell you when I went into my system, what I did was I filtered for, I started off at the top. I started off filtering for, bear with me. I started off filtering for 10K and above. Now, some of you won't have anybody at 10K and above just yet. That's fine. But I started off filtering at 10K or above to determine who had at least 10,000 in group qualifying volume. Okay, system showed me that. Then I went back and I had a pad and a pen. You know, I wrote down their username and their name, and then what their GQV was. Then I went back and I looked at the 1,000 to 999. Obviously, I had more people in the 1,000 to 999 than I had 10K. And then what I did was I wrote down the username, the name of the person, and how much volume they had. Okay. Then I went to the 100 to 99. Then I went to 199. So now I was able to see who my top producers were. I was also able to see. Give me a moment. I was also able to see how close were some of these folks to hitting 10,000 in group qualifying volume. So, for instance, I know that I have somebody, I won't say their username or what have you. I know I have someone that's at 6,800. When I did the 1,000 to 999, I had someone who was at like 6,800 group qualifying volume. Well, I want to make sure they may not be one of my top 3, but I want to make sure that I don't place them down too far. I want to keep them as close as I possibly can, because then I want to start doing some placements with them. because they're already at 6,800. All we need to do is get them 3,200 more, and boom, we just helped to get someone promoted. And by doing so, they now can dip down more levels of pay. They start making more money. So I started off with my 10K and above to see who's there. All right. Then I go to my 1,000 to 999. Then I go to my 100 to 999. Then I go to my 1 to 999. Then obviously my zeros. Okay, so that's how I did it. I decided I'm building through 3 legs. Building through 3 legs. Okay. Now, I am not going to just start arbitrarily placing people with those top 3 without a detailed discussion with those 3, because I need to make sure that they are absolutely, and I know these 3, but I need to make sure that these folks are absolutely committed. Now, it doesn't mean, I know there's some people that promote multiple things, and of course, I'm all for you being an entrepreneur and taking care of your family and doing what you need to do and so on and so forth. But I want to make sure that no matter what comes up tomorrow, the next week, next month, that these folks are planning to be here, because when I make this placement, I can't undo it. And I'm doing it to lock them in. I'm doing it to help leverage their leadership. So now, what I would then be doing is going to my 3, and I'm going to ask them, who are your top 3? Who are your top 3? Some of you, we've had some Skype discussions. Some of you, hey, give me some strategy. And I said, hey, determine your top 3. How did I determine my top 3? It was production-based. It was production-based. We took a look at the GQV. Then as we narrowed down those top 3, now that I've got my top 3, now how do I then start to place folks beneath them? I started to look at my next tier of folks, and I looked at their GQV. And then as I had more folks in that 1,000 to 999 range, some of you may have more people in the 100 to 999 range or what have you, then I started individually going through and looking at things like their PQV. What's their personal, what is their monthly subscription? So if I had somebody who was at 5,000 in GQV and somebody at 4,900 in GQV, and I'm saying, okay, I'm going to now place somebody underneath one of these 2, I'm then going to take another look. I'm going to look at, well, if the 4,900 has $200 a month subscription, the 5,000 has a $100 a month subscription, and I'll look at some other things too. I'll look at, hey, who's active? Who do I see in the Skype rooms? Who do I see coming on webinars? Because what I want to do is I want to use the JubiSuite to reward and not to create an entitlement society, okay? So I'm going to my top 3, and I'm saying, who are your top 3? And I'm telling my top 3, hey, your top 3, you know, let's narrow those top 3 down, or top 4 or 5 if you decide to go wider. Let's make sure those top 3 are committed. Let's make sure that those top 3 are either at or are at least committed once they have the resources to get the 200 PV. Why? Because I want to create this. I want to create this right here. I want to create this. I want to create this. And so if my top 3 then go to their top 3 or 4 or 5 or however why they may be doing, and they're doing the same thing, then now all of a sudden, now we got level 3. We got a bunch of folks on level 3 that are committed. And if their folks do the same, now all of a sudden we start getting folks on level 4 committed. So on and so forth. Give me just a moment, ladies and gentlemen. Bear with me. Okay. All right. So so I'm looking at that GQV. Now, as I've lined up my folks and who I'm going to start placing and where I'm going to start placing, so on and so forth, I'm looking at when I make a placement of Joe Average, how does that impact Sue average in terms of her getting promoted. This is why I'm looking at the GQV. So let's take a look right here. All right. So let's say this is my JubiSuite. I don't plan to have all of these folks. Gosh, let me get rid of that somehow. I don't plan to have all of these folks. Darn, there we go. Sitting here on my first level. I plan to only have, for what I'm planning on doing, 3. I only plan on having 3. Now, let's talk about the process, the mechanics of making movements. By the way, darn, there we go. Okay, all right. Now, if you know someone is going to be on your first level, you know someone is going to be on your first level. Let's say that I know that JJ Training is going to be on my first level. Then what I want to do is I want to click on him or her, and then I want to click where it says lock here. Many of you are eager to start placing. Tyron, don't place yet. You and I need to have a final discussion, okay? Bev, don't place yet. We need to have some discussions. I know your folks are ready to go. We need to have some discussions. We'll schedule the time if we have to. I know we got some crazy time differentials, but we'll do that. Queen, don't start placing yet, okay? For those that you know are going to be on your first level, you want to go on and you can click lock here. Tyron, hopefully you haven't done that yet. Queen, hopefully you haven't done that yet. Bev, hopefully you haven't done that yet. There's a few others of you. Louise, I hope you haven't done that yet. Jeff, I hope you haven't done that yet. I'm just showing you how to do it. I'm just showing you how to do it, okay? So what you would do is you would click lock here. When you go through the whole process of locking this person, you're going to have to put in your PIN number. And so now what just happened is you see the color coding change from gray to yellow. What this means is that this person here is now permanently placed. In this case, they were permanently placed on your first level, and any holding volume that they had is now going to be released and commissioned on. So whether they had holding volume from the unilevel structure, whether they had holding volume from the sales bonuses, the 0.5%, so on and so forth. Once you do that placement, any holding volume is going to be released. But remember, you can't make any changes. You can't make any changes. I would rather err on the side of taking a little bit longer to plan this out and do it the way you really want to have it done. If you've got questions about it, Skype me. I'll be more than happy to kind of help survey your situation and give you some pointers or what have you, because the holding volume is not going anywhere. It will continue to grow and grow and grow, and then once you've placed, then the holding volume is going to be released and any commissions thereof. If you've been saying, well, gosh, I'm not making any money from the JubiSuite, it's probably because you haven't either locked in the folks that you were looking to lock in, or you haven't placed them. Now, there's a difference between locking in and moving someone. When you lock someone in, you're locking them on your first level. You're locking them on your first level. So with the way I'm building, I would not be locking anybody else in. Go away. I would not be locking anyone else in if this were my actual, if this were my actual back office, because I'm just building 3 wide for the time being until we get enough people starting to get the 1st and 2-star and so on and so forth. Okay? All right. Now let's say I want to move. All right? I've decided that I want to move training number 3 with JJ Training. What I would do is I would simply click on training number 3. I would then click move. And give me a moment. I then need to put in the placement sponsor All right, so I've clicked on training number 3. That's the person I'm moving. I'm going to put them with JJ Training. I'm going to click, and then the system automatically does that there. And then I've got step 3 to confirm. Put in my PIN number. All right, and so now what's just happened? Now you can see that JJ Training now has the benefit of training number 3 that I placed with JJ Training. Now let me tell you something. I'm not going to place training 3 with JJ Training until I've had a brief conversation, whether it was Skype, email, phone, or what have you, with JJ Training. Because what I'm going to tell JJ Training is, hey, I'm placing this leg with you. What I plan to do, because I need you to understand this, when I made this placement here, JJ Training cannot see the contact information of training number 3. When I made this placement here, JJ Training cannot see the contact information of training number 3. The only person who can see training number 3's contact information is the enroller. In this example, that's me. However, I'm only placing with people that I've got confidence will do the right thing. If I am suspect, if I'm concerned as to whether or not JJ Training is going to try to get training number 3 into some other deal other than what we're doing, I'm not going to place that person. So what I plan to do is that I plan to connect with JJ Training and say, hey, I'm getting ready to place a leg with you. And I might even facilitate a conference call, a 3-way. I might facilitate a Skype meeting or what have you. I'm going to let training number 3 know, hey, I'm getting ready to place you, and I plan to place you with JJ Training. I'll talk to JJ Training. I talk to JJ Training. He says, cool. And why? Because what I want to be able to do now is be able to leverage JJ Training to say, hey, I may need some assistance in helping to build training number 3, helping them out. Maybe they have a question here or there. You are now overriding them and their entire team. So the JubiSuite placement is not just an entitlement society. When I place someone with my buddy Tyron, then I'm looking for Tyron to help me help them, because by that person that I place with Tyron growing their business, it also impacts Tyron, helps him get through his promotion. So now I can leverage other leaders. So I know I'm going to be out of pocket maybe for a couple weeks or what have you, sometime in the summer when we're making our relocation. But you know what? If I place some folks with Tyron and I've connected those dots there, then I know that that person's got good, strong leadership. If I place some folks with Queen, I know that person's got good, strong leadership. Okay? All right. By the way, if you receive placement from your enroller, so your enroller places someone with you, your enroller contacts you and says, hey, I'm about to place this person with you, and here's their contact information I want to introduce you to. And it may not always be on the phone. It might just be passing emails. It might be passing Skype, so on and so forth. Okay? Do not violate trust. In other words, if you place someone with me, and then I decided that I wanted to add another income stream to what I'm doing, which, that's fine. And then I send an email in secret or Skype in secret to that person that you connected with me, trying to get them to come and join me. That is flat out wrong. Do not violate trust. Let's build this right, ladies and gentlemen. We build it right. Here's the thing I've learned in this industry. I mean, certainly I'm not perfect. I've made plenty of mistakes. But because we do our darndest to build with character and integrity, even when companies have let us down, it wasn't long before we were with somewhere else and we had a large following because people appreciated building with character and integrity. You know what? So far, even on my YouTube channel, I still have not even posted my personal information on there. And I send out on YouTube almost every day. I still have not put my link on there. Not that I couldn't, because it's my YouTube channel. But we've done that because we know a lot of you circulate those videos. Do not violate trust. Okay, all right. So, I'm building in threes. I'm building my top 3 legs. Okay. I'm starting off with my top producers. From my top producers, then I start to look at my my second tier, where I'm going to be placing. Then I'm going to start looking at my third tier. In other words, I've got my top 3 legs. Then I've got my second tier legs that I'm going to be placing somehow connected to those top 3. Then I'm going to have a third tier of legs I'm going to start placing somehow connected to the folks in tier 2, then connected in tier 1. Let me tell you what I'm not as overly concerned about right now. I'm not as overly concerned about whether or not you place some people strategically, even if you're not necessarily qualified for all the levels, as much as I'm concerned about that we are getting people, getting more and more volume, where more and more people are being able to get on their path to promotions. So I am willing, I know, for instance, that by me telling you I'm building in 3 legs, if Tyron, one of my top 3 legs, decides to build with 3 legs, and he's personally enrolled hundreds of folks, I know that that's going to have some of his folks going further down and eventually in some past 8 levels. Why am I okay with that? Well, because this is one part of our compensation plan, a very powerful one. It's not the only part of our compensation plan. And if I can get Tyron promoted, and I can help get some of his leaders promoted, and some of my other leaders promoted, and leverage Tyron as an example, all right, to help build that, I'm going to make far more money by focusing on other people getting a paycheck than just focusing on myself. I'm going to make far more money helping other people get paychecks, helping other people get volume, than what I would do if I just tried to keep all of my top personally enrolled on my first level. So I hope you're starting to see some of the strategies behind it. And let me give you something else that you can consider doing. And Tyron, this is why I'm saying to you, buddy, and Queen, and a few of you others, if you haven't started placing, don't just yet until we've had a chance to talk, okay?
Okay, 5 minutes to them up.
Okay, thank you. All right. Here's something else I want you to consider, okay? So, Queen, let me tell you something you could do.
Okay.
Let's say you've got 8 good, strong, personally enrolled. Okay? You decide you're going to build with 3. And then the other 5 are somehow going to be connected to the first 3. You with me?
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Let me tell you how you could help those other 5. All right. What if you went to your top 3? Let's give them names: John, Mary, Susan. Okay. John, Mary, and Susan. And you go to John and you say, look, John, I'm going to place a leg with you. And maybe John has bought into right now building in 3s. And maybe John's got 3 or 4 or 5. He's got 5, 6, 7 of his own. And they may not all be huge business builders right now, but they're committed. They're committed, okay? What if you did this? What if you said, okay, John, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you, I'm going to place a leg. But I want that leg to be on your first level, and I want it to be one of your 3.
Okay.
And so I'm going to place a leg with you, John, but I want one of the legs that I place with you. I'm going to place a really good leg with you. You've got some volume and committed person, what have you, but I want that leg to be one of the 3 that you're going to be building. So in other words, John, any other placements you're doing, I need you to help me build that leg. So place at least one good leg underneath that one that I place with you. I give you a leg, you give my leg a leg. I give you a leg, you give my leg a leg. I give you a good strong leg, John. You give. So maybe I gave a planted John. Maybe I planted Sarah in John's business. John, I'm going to place Sarah with you. Sarah's got some good holding volume. Sarah's committed. She comes on the webinars. Da 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 da. In order for me to place Sarah with you, John, you got to commit. I give you a leg. You're going to give Sarah a leg. And look at what just happened. Look at what just happened. So John commits to that, and then John places Dale with Sarah. Now look at what just happened. Okay. You impacted John by putting Sarah in John's business.
That's exactly right.
Okay. John impacted Sarah by putting Dale in Sarah's business. Well, you know what I'm going to be telling Sarah since I place Sarah in Dale's business? I'm sorry, I place Sarah in John's business. I'm going to say, hey, Sarah, I'm placing you with John. I'm placing you with John. And I want to connect the two of you. Here's his email address and, you know, what have you. Now, look, Sarah, I enrolled you, so, you know, still look to me as your primary leader, but if there's, you know, something happens, what have you, you know, you guys connect, what have you, okay? Now, John's telling me he's going to place a leg with you, but under one condition, Sarah. At some point, you got to place a leg with the person he places with you. Will you commit to that? She said, yeah. I received a leg. I'm going to give a leg.
Yeah, I will.
Now, I know, Queen, as we go a little bit further down here, you know, maybe Sarah doesn't have 200 personally enrolled like Sean Walter's got 500 personally enrolled. So she doesn't have 500 personally enrolled. But what I want her committed to is that if she is being impacted by a placement, she is committed to reciprocating. It may take her a day, it may take her a week, it may take her a month. Leaders, did you get that?
Yeah.
Did you get that? So, Queen, I'm going to come to you, and I'm going to say, Queen, I've got a leg I want to place with you, but this is what I need you to do for me. All right? I want this leg I'm placing with you to be one of your three. All right? You say, cool.
Okay.
All right? And then I want you to place someone with that leg. And Queen, if I'm placing a good, strong leg, you know, you make sure you place a decent leg with that person. Is that fair?
Okay.
Okay? And so now look at what starts to happen here. So now Dale's volume impacts Sarah. Sarah's volume impacts John. John's volume impacts you. I may not be qualified for Dale and what have you, but you know what I'm building? I'm building a very strong leg. And I know we got to go, Queen. I'm aware of that. I know we got to go. But this is what I was taught. My first network marketing company, really was my second one, but I didn't make a lot of money, but most of what I learned about network marketing, I learned from that enterprise with Hubert Humphrey as my hero. He talked about tap rooting, the importance of tap rooting, because a lot of your big leaders won't be on your first level. And people today, you can't just look at someone today and project what they're going to do tomorrow. For instance, Queen, I had a guy that joined me in a company that had a revenue sharing model. He had never had any major success, but boy, he went to town, and he had more points on our team than anybody else. I could not have predicted that, okay? All right, so tap rooting is where it's not just your first level, but you start tapping down to find more leadership. And what happens is, what they taught us is that a recruit is, Hubert used to always say this, he said a recruit is not a recruit until they have a recruit. What he said is, you know, when you brought somebody on your team, they're all excited, but until they start to see some type of growth in their team, you know, any passing win, and they're going to something else. And then he said, A recruit leg is not a recruit leg unless it is 4 deep. 4 deep meaning, in this example, we had, let's say Queen, it was you, my first level.
Okay.
Then it was John that I placed with you, so now John's on my second level. Then you placed Sarah in John's business by placement. Sarah's now on my third level. And then John placed Dale with Sarah. So now, this now becomes a leg. This is now starting to really develop some depth. Last thing here. No, we got to go. Width equals profitability.
Yeah.
That's personal enrollment. Tyron's personally enrolled 300, 400, 500 folks, whatever the number happens to be. But depth equals security. And what the JubiSuite allows us to do is I don't ever have to stop my personal recruiting efforts. I can go wide in terms of personal enrollments, but then I can use the JubiSuite to build that depth, that builds that security, to lock in these great leaders, lock in these folks. And then ultimately what's going to happen, Queen, is we're going to have people that aren't necessarily the big promoters, big leaders have, you know, huge GQVs just yet, but by doing what I'm suggesting that we do, Queen, I'm coming to you, have my game plan, Queen, I'm going to place a leg, but you got to give me a leg. Meaning you got to give a leg to the person I'm giving, all right? And then that person I'm going to say, hey, Queen gave him a leg, gave you a leg, you got to give a leg. That person that she put under you, all right? At some point, you know, you need to be 3 wide, but at some point, you need to place a leg there. You need to place a leg there. You know what we're going to say? That's the culture we want to build, Queen.
Yeah.
So now we have these strong, stable legs, and now when Mr. Blogger says something, people aren't just blown away with the wind of whatever other deal comes out or somebody says something or what have you, because they're secure. They're secure. Ladies and gentlemen, we did not get a chance to get to Q&A. I know there's a bunch of Q&A. I would love to come back on Thursday to do just Q&A. I can't do it because I've got to do a function for my little girl. So what we're going to do on next Tuesday, we're going to come back to JubiSuite training. We'll probably start off with a Q&A. In the meantime, go into the Skype chat rooms. If you need some assistance in planning out your JubiSuite, my Skype is GIF-PM. GIF-PM. Many of you already have me in your system. Skype me. We may have to schedule a time or what have you, and we can help you plan things out. If you were personally enrolled by me, all right, and particularly if you were personally enrolled by me and you have a decent-sized team or what have you, I know you got people waiting for placements. I'm going to ask you, don't place yet. If you haven't already done so, don't place yet until we have connected, okay? So that we can, hey, I give you a leg, you give my personal leg. I give you a leg, you give my personal leg. I give you a leg, give my personal leg, so on and so forth. All right, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we love each and every one of you. We're jumping over to the income opportunity presentation at JubiRevWebinar.com. Love each and every one of you. Let's change the world together, starting with yours.
So that's it for now. If you have any questions, please get back to the person that shared this video with you, or you can send a support ticket from your JubiRev back office. Thank you. We look forward to hearing of your success.